Hello, everybody. It's T from the Backstage Pass team, and I am here today to talk about our newest features called Connections. This feature is mostly applicable through the dashboard, but you can always add connections via Discord. It's just you don't get the nice graphical interface, and this is launchable as an activity for viewers within Discord. We'll talk about all that in a little bit, but let's talk about what connections are first of all. Connections are an ever-growing map of how your characters are connected to other characters or NPCs. As long as they're in MultiMuse or you have a name that you can slap on a blank card, then they can be connected to your muse. It's going to be easier to show you, so let's just get into this. First, you go to multimuse.app/dashboard, you log in, and you end up on your dashboard with all of your muses. By the time you're seeing this, this will no longer say beta, it will just say connections. But on every muse, you will have a connections cloud button, and you will have a publish cloud publicly button and a custom slug viewer here. This section is also accessible through the clouds tab. I just wanted to have everything here to make it a little bit easier. You'll also notice we fixed up the coloring and styling on the dashboard a little bit to match the new branding. So if you want to make connections for a muse, you can either hit connections beta, but I think I want to add some new connections for Apathy directly. So I'm just going to click connections cloud up here for Apathy, and then it loads me into the connections cloud. This is the connections cloud where you will, when you first start, you will just have your muse here in a nice big blank canvas. There's a lot of things to look at here, so I'm going to try to break it down as simple as possible. These 4 buttons here are your nav, so you don't need anything on the sides if you don't want it. This hides your muses panel, this hides the side panel, and then this brings them back or hides them both. You can click the add here button, the add connections button, or just double click on the canvas to bring up the add connections. By default, it shows you muses that you own with shared tags, or just all of your muses, including muses that are shared with you. But if you want to add a muse from somebody else, all you have to do is look up their name. So I could type Zuno, and I can add Zuno from Briar. And there we go. And then I can click here to add a label. I'm just going to put unknown because they don't actually know each other, but for the purpose of this video, unknown. And then that will show up, and I can put this as other relationship. I don't need to style it or anything right now. And that's how you get a relationship going within this new system. Every muse has a public link. Once you've made it public, this turns on by default. And I'll show you what this means later, but it basically allows your muse to show up in other people's maps beyond immediate connections. And then you can also preview the extended map here, so you can kind of get a taste for what that looks like. So Gali, who is a romantic connection to Apathy, is also connected to the Red Thread Sovereign, who then in turn gets connected to all of these other people. And it's an ever-expanding map. It's really fun to play around with to see how you and your friends' muses connect from across the universe. And then every muse has a public link that you can send to someone or is attached to the card. And this has a lot more settings like map depth, turning off specific kinds of connections, whether or not you want to see the shared connections between muses in your immediate area, or just turning off the extended map in general. There's also a reduced motion mode so that things don't scale and hover and do a bunch of other things, just because people do get a little bit motion sickness. But look at how far this extends already. So from Zuno all the way up here, they get connected. It's kind of a crazy thing to watch it expand and get ever bigger. Within the connection types here, you can save custom ones. So if you set it to other, it'll give you a custom type name. I'm just gonna put this to unknown to show you how it works. And then you can set a custom color as well. It'll pop up a color picker. And I could save type. And then that forever shows up. You just click here and here if you want to change the connection. Or it also shows up here in the connection types. And if you don't want it anymore, you could just delete it and then it's no longer saved. But it still shows up here. It does not delete it from here. It's just, these are easy to make it recall another one. So if I added, this, and I wanted to change this to other, I can easily select mentor from here, and it pulls that up already with the custom name type and the custom title and stuff. This is just to give you options if you don't want to use labels and prefer to use these. If you want to use both, like, so if like you have a romantic connection, but actually they're nemesises and it's a rivals to romance type deal, you can have that level of distinction. Now, when you own a muse, you can also set this to mirror on the other muse. So when you click that, you can add what it says on their cloud as well. So this just kind of makes it easier if you have a bunch of different muses that all connect together and you own them. And so like Apony says test, but when I double click on Solara's card, it should load this up. And then it says unknown to Apony here. And then with reciprocal links, which is what these are, the mirrors, if I delete here and I go back to Apony, it will also delete there. So they are completely reciprocal in terms of naming and all of that jazz. If you are trying to add someone that you do not know, or sorry, rather, if you're trying to add a muse that's owned by another person and you want to just set up the reciprocal link, you can request reciprocal link on Zuno's cloud. And then you can specify whether or not it's just for this connection if you only have a shared connection with one of their muses. Or more likely, if you're role-playing with someone a lot, you have a lot of shared connections between your various characters. All muses standing trust is the one that I would go with. And then it sends a standing trust request. The user will then get a DM about this, to which they can accept, reject, or block you, so that if someone's trying to spam request you, you can just block them and they can't send you more requests, as a safety and security feature. But as you can see, once you do that, there's a standing trust active between me and Gali's owner. I can set my title here, and then I can set what I show up as on Gali's cloud here. So I set it to job. The easiest way to show this is if I double click here and transport to Gali's, you'll see that it says, Gali's treating Apony as a job. And this is happening because I'm a little too close to Gali and Gali's cloud, but that's fine. You can always adjust that in your own editing. And as you can see, people are already really taking advantage of like the custom tags and all of the fun things you can do with it. For search, you can search by server tags of the servers that you're in, or tags that your muses currently have used. So you can search by Briar of Bargains. Again, this is only your tags, and this is just recommended. And then all your public muses still go down here. But more likely, you want to search by a specific user's tag, so you need to turn on developer mode, which most of you probably already do just from working with working with bots like this, and do @ their developer tag, and now I can look at all of my friend Hazel's muses right here. So I can just add Ophelia, and I already have reciprocity. It reflects right there, and then I can go to Ophelia's, and you see it right there, Concord member, Apony Solaris. By default, all clouds should be set to private if you were in the beta. If not, they're probably reflective of what your muse's current card status is as a default. So if you have your muse card set to private, its cloud will be private. You can publish all clouds from this button right here and just confirm, and it will tell you whether or not they've all been published. Link settings is all of the people you have shared or have trusted you with. You can revoke these here if you no longer want to be sharing with someone, just as a security feature. You also have a list of your blocked requestees so that you can unblock them if need be. And then in scene connections, there is suggest scene connections from shared threads. This will happen if you're currently being tracked in a thread with someone with a specific character. And then you can set a custom label for when you pull those in. For me, I have it set to acquaintance, and then auto add to my clouds, no prompt. This is cool because this pulls off of MultiMuse's thread tracking. And so if you and another muse are tracked in a cloud at the same time, it will automatically, if you have this checked, pull them into your cloud. Which is really cool, just as an automatic, like, hey, I roleplayed with this server, this person. we're an acquaintance right now, nothing more than that. And then you can come in and edit it later if this relationship develops into something other than just like we know each other. But it's a really cool way to like kind of make it ever living and always have it growing. Okay, and the last thing that we need to cover for MultiMuse connections is how it works inside of Discord. All connections, if you have your connection cloud turned on, will show up as a view connections button on your Muse cards. If you're close to your Muse component limit on creative cards, this could be an issue for you, so please keep this in mind. If you're at component limit, keep your connections off or remove a component so that you can add this back in. It takes 2 components to add a button in. It's really cool because these are pretty persistent with cards, so I could just click this and it launches us straight into an activity that launches Eric's card, so you can view the connection maps right in Discord. And you can do the connection trailing as well. You can follow it and see where it all goes. Additionally to that, there is a connections command tree. Connections add lets you add a Muse by default. I just rebooted the bot, so it's got that unknown integration bug. Fun fact, if you just error that out and then redo this, it will fix it. So you can add a connection to Azalin. If I wanted it to be the backdrop Muse, label unknown, reciprocal true, cool. I'm going to send that. And then if I do connections open, and then I can open Azalin, and it will launch you right into the activity of that Muse, so you don't always need the card. But there we go. Connection with backdrop right there. And then connections remove. If you want to manually remove a connection from somewhere, I can grab Azalin, and then it will auto-populate with backdrop, and I can remove that and remove it from the cloud. Just wanted to have a way to be able to manage these within Discord without having to go to the dashboard if you really want, but being able to arrange and set colors and custom things within the dashboard is really the ideal experience here. And that is Connections and MultiMuse. I hope you guys get a lot of fun out of this. It is live now. Go to the community Discord. You can find it by the support link on the website or in the bot's description. And please hop in, show us your clouds as they get bigger. I think this might be, a little biased, one of my favorite features we've ever put out for MultiMuse next to cards. So I can't wait to see what everybody builds with it. And thank you so much and have a good day.